Welcome to Riot Earnings Explained, where today we are diving deep into Netflix's absolutely blockbuster 2025 earnings report. And wow, what a year it was. We're talking massive growth, gigantic hits, and one announcement that just shook the entire industry.
Okay, let's just jump right in with the number that had everyone talking. An incredible $45.2 billion in revenue for the full year. I mean, just let that number sink in. This isn't just a big number, it is a massive statement of intent, and it really sets the stage for everything else we're about to cover.
And you know that $45 billion isn't some one-off fluke. Nope, it represents a huge 16% jump from the year before. So we're not just talking about a company that's staying ahead of the pack, we're talking about one that's hitting the accelerator. This is what it looks like when a company is firing on all cylinders.
So, the big question is, how did they pull this off? And what does it all mean for what's coming next? Here's what we're going to break down. We'll decode the financials, see how content fueled everything, peek into what's next for Netflix, and then, oh yeah, we'll get into that massive Warner Bros. Mega deal.
All right, let's get into it. First up, decoding the financials. We're going to pull back the curtain and really look at the engine behind that incredible success.
What I love about this chart is how it just shows you the relentless consistency. Just look at how revenue climbs quarter after quarter after quarter right through 2025. They weren't just meeting expectations, they were smashing them. And that steady climb is what built such a powerful foundation for the whole year.
And here's where you can really see that year-over-year acceleration in action. It's not just that revenue leaped from $39 billion to over $45 billion. Check out the operating margin. That's a key indicator of how profitable they are. It grew right alongside the revenue, jumping almost 3 full points. That tells you they're getting bigger and smarter with their money.
Now, a huge part of this story, and I mean huge, is advertising. Their ad-supported plan just exploded. It more than doubled in 2025, rocketing past $1.5 billion. And get this, they think it's going to roughly double again in 2026. This thing went from an experiment to a core part of the business seemingly overnight.
Okay, so we're seeing these incredible financials. We're seeing this new ad business take off. But what's really at the heart of it all? What's the fundamental driver behind all this growth? Well, you know, it always comes back to one thing. And that, of course, is the content. That brings us to our next section. Content powers the growth. Because let's be real, none of these numbers happen without blockbuster shows and movies that attract a massive, dedicated audience. And speak of the audience, by the end of 2025, Netflix blew past a huge milestone. They now have over 325 million paid members around the world. I mean, think about that. That's a scale that nobody else in streaming can even touch right now.
And how do you keep 325 million people happy? Well, you give them a slate like this. We're talking about massive, culture-defining events like the final season of Stranger Things, movies that get everyone talking like Frankenstein, and huge unscripted specials. This is the stuff that gets people to sign up and stick around.
And Netflix knows this. It's right there in their letter to shareholders. They said, "Fandom is a powerful engine for our business." It's not just about getting eyeballs on a screen. It's about creating passionate fans who talk about the shows, who wear the merch, who keep the conversation going. That right there is the secret sauce.
So after a year like that, you have to ask, where do they possibly go from here? Which brings us to our next section. What's next for Netflix? Let's take a look at their game plan for 2026. Well, financially, they are not planning on slowing down. They're aiming to smash through the $50 billion revenue barrier and push that already amazing operating margin even higher, to over 31%. They're basically signaling to everyone that this growth engine has plenty of fuel left in the tank.
So how are they going to do it? Their whole strategy really boils down to 3 key things. First, keep making the core business, shows, movies, and ads, even better. Second, start building out newer ventures like live sports and video games. And third, well, the big one, get that game-changing Warner Bros. Deal across the finish line.
And of course, content is still king. They are backing up the strategy with another monster slate. We're getting new seasons of huge fan favorites like Bridgerton and One Piece, massive new projects like Greta Gerwig's Narnia, and they're beefing up their movie library with major new deals with studios like Universal and Sony.
Okay, now for the main event. The news that absolutely nobody saw coming. The Warner Bros. Mega deal. Seriously, this is the kind of move that could completely redraw the map of entertainment for decades.
So back in December, Netflix dropped the bombshell. They intend to buy Warner Bros. And basically all of its legendary assets. We're talking the film and TV studios, the HBO Max streaming service, and the crown jewel itself, HBO.
Now, things got even more interesting recently when they updated the deal to an all-cash offer. So why do that? Well, it gives the shareholders more certainty, and more importantly, it's designed to speed up the whole process. They want this deal done, and they want it done fast.
Look, you really can't overstate how huge this is. This deal is like a strategic cheat code for Netflix. They instantly get their hands on a treasure trove of iconic IP. I mean, think DC Comics, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. It lets them offer way more options to subscribers and massively ramps up their ability to make content all over the world.
At the end of the day, this acquisition is an enormous bet on the future, creating a media powerhouse the likes of which we have never seen before. And it really just leaves us with one final massive question. With this much content, this much scale, and this much money, will this deal make Netflix simply unbeatable?